May I request Chitranjan Chattopadhyay sir to kindly escort all the speakers of this session, plenary session, our former President CMA M. Gopalakrishnan sir, CMA Dr. Paritosh Basu sir, Shri Prabodha Acharya sir and Shri Chirag Rawat sir and Shri Devashish Mitra sir. Kindly take your seats on the dais sir. Welcome sir. May I request Prabodha Acharya sir to kindly take his seat. Yeah. During this summit, we will have the privilege of hearing from distinguished speakers who are pioneers in their respective fields. They will dwell upon various aspects of sustainability from environmental conservation to social justice and responsible governance. Before we proceed for our plenary session, our theme of the plenary session is ESG from theory to actions, from effective contributions with measured values. So before we proceed, may I request Chitranjan Chattopadhyay sir for pleasantries to our guests here. May I request Chitranjan Chattopadhyay sir and CMA Devashish Mitra sir, Council Member of ICMAI, to please welcome CMA M. Gopalakrishnan sir. A big round of applause for our former President ICMAI, CMA M. Gopalakrishnan sir. Thank you sir for coming all the way and gracing the summit sir. Thank you, sir. Now I would request Chitranjan sir, Council Member ICMAI, and Devashish sir, Council Member ICMAI, to felicitate CMA Dr. Paritosh Basu sir, Senior Director Services, Fragility Consulting Private Limited. Thank you, sir, for gracing this occasion, sir, today. We look forward to your sessions, sir. Now may I request, sir, to please felicitate Shri Prabodha Acharya, sir, Chief Sustainability Officer, JSW Group. Thank you, sir. Now may I request Chitranjan sir and Devashish sir to kindly welcome Shri Chirag Rawat sir, Founder Climatic Technologies. Thank you, sir. A big round of applause for our wonderful panelists. So, full panel is there. May I request CMA Chitranjan Chattopadhyay, sir, Council Member ICMAI, to please give his welcome address.
Namaskar. I think we are already running behind the time, so I will not take much of your time because we have got a very, luminaries on the dais who would be speaking on a very relevant topic. And this plenary session's topic, from theory to actions for effective contribution with measured values. Respected President of the Institute, Sri Vijendra Sharma, the Chairman of this Global Summit 2023, Sri H. Padmanabhan, our dearest Papan Bhai, and all our esteemed council members, our mentors, our guiding factors, all past presidents of this institute, the speakers on this dais, especially chairman of this session, a versatile personality, Gopal Krishnan sir, and Mr. Acharya, Mr. Chirag, and my friend in the council, Seme Devashish Mitra, all the esteemed participants, Secretary of the Institute, officials of the Institute, ladies and gentlemen. And in fact, this particular session, welcome address has to be given by me, but I think the session which has been really crafted, as you know, every business deeply intertwined with environmental, social, and governance concern, it makes sense that a strong ESG proposition can create values. And as you all know, our ICMI is an institution which is always proactive and preaching for value creation, value additions, and value analysis through cost and management accounting practices for sustainable business world, which will enhance the happiness index of India, also the globe, for every individual. Keeping in mind of this sensitizing all the stakeholders, our ICMI has established Sustainability Standard Board. You will be very happy to learn that our SSB has come out, which has been continuously striving hard to sensitize the stakeholders. We have come out with a magnificent bulletin on sustainability. Name is Sukhino Bhavantu. This bulletin has been appreciated from the nooks and corners of the country. And ladies and gentlemen, a strong environmental, social, and governance, as you know, this links to very value creation in 5 essential ways. I think our discussions will be centering on from the action, how it can be undertaken by the professionals like us. This is top line growth, then your cost reductions, then regulatory and legal intervention, then productivity uplift, and last is the very important investment and asset optimization. So all these 5 areas, I think today's discussions throughout the sessions, definitely it will help us to have a better understanding, and I think this summit will be very much successful when we shall be able to understand many facets of the ESGs. Friends, the first session was deliberated by the very, very efficient and very famous people of this country who have given certain roadmap to us. And I think that BRSR, what has been talked about by our Lieutenant General Samir Gupta ji, it is really a matter for our profession, and already you will be very happy. Security Exchange Board of India, SEBI, they have called us for many discussions, and we have already made them how our profession can help in BRSR reporting. And you will be another issue is here, since this is a social audit, you know, our institute has been one of the pioneer in having this social audit organizations. Our many members are now joining as a social auditor. They are non-financial issues. For non-financial issues, SEBI has been depending upon our profession. And I am very happy to tell you that in this particular area, our profession has been taken as a very important area. Our CMA profession has been given due importance by SEBI. And you will be the last I want to mention you here, the expected credit loss mechanism in this area of ESG. When this G20 summits, there our Honorable Prime Minister is the leader. The financial stability report, there we have to play a big role, and already we have approached our RBI to simply contribute our expertise. So with this, I think this is a very beautiful session. You will be listening from our expert people. With this, I welcome you all in this particular session, and I request you to please have your questionnaires ready so that we can also have some interactions with our experts here. Thank you for your patient hearing, and I welcome you all, sir, again in this very august session. Thank you.
Thank you, Chitranjan sir, for welcoming all the panelists. Now may I request Chairman of the session, CMA M. Gopalakrishnan sir, former President ICMAI, to please address the gathering and share his views.
Good afternoon, friends and colleagues. Dr. Paritosh Basu, Senior Director, Strategic Consulting, who is going to give the keynote address. Mr. Prabodh Acharya, Chief Sustainability Officer in JSW Group. Shri Chirag Rawat, Founder of Climatic Technologies, an IIT alumni who has taken the call at a very young age. CMA Chitranjan Chattopadhyaya, Council Member, and CMA Debashish Mitra, Council Member. President Vijayendra Sharma ji, CMA Padmanabhan, Chairman of the Global Summit, and the convener, CMA Ashwin Dalwadi. The present Council members, the Council members who have been elected, the chapter representatives, and also the representatives of the regional councils who are in the existing council and those who have been elected. The Global Summit, as conceived by the ICMA Institute, is a landmark initiative, is continuing to be a landmark initiative which has been taken by the Institute. And very rightly, when I look at the experts who are going to address both today and tomorrow and who are already addressed, it gives the importance what ESG is going to play in the ICMA world. And since we are the professionals who are associated with improving the cost competitiveness of the industries, enterprises, whether they are in the manufacturing or service sector, I think it is imperative for all of us, those who are in practice as well as those who are in service, to understand the implications of the environment, social and sustainability and governance aspects. Although this concept has come only recently, I remember way back in 1990s, it was very dear to the sector which I was very closely associated, that is the textile sector. But the impetus came from outside, those who are importing the products from India in the textile sector. Whenever the global giants, either in the Europe or USA, they wanted to place the orders in many of the entities who are engaged in providing them the apparels, garments, especially in the Coimbatore, Salem, Erode, Tirupur belt, they had introduced the concept of sustainable products. And these sustainable products have to be certified by some of the leading international agencies. This brought in a major cultural change, especially in that sector, which had to look at that they are sourcing the materials from environment friendly, right from the farm to the final consumer level. Those who are involved in that industry, they know very well about the BCI, that is the Better Cotton Initiative, organic cotton, then the zero discharge of effluents, then the zero water. All those concepts were already embedded almost about 10 to 20 years back. Now it has become a very important. Now we are seeing the effect of all these changes across the globe, and we are facing that in Delhi itself in the past few days. And this is actually, it is the way the nature tells us that be cautious, I am warning you. And all your practices, whether in the manufacturing or the way in which you lead the lives, it should be compatible with what is with the nature. It has to be aligned with the nature. And one important aspect of it, although the ESG looks at a concept level, we have seen that this has got embedded in the basic systems of the enterprises. In fact, we have a representative from JSW. I am a mentor in the Total Cost Management National Committee of the Confederation of Indian Industry. There are some of the modules which were, one of the module which was developed for reaching the maturity level. Of course, JSW group is one group which has reached the highest level of maturity. And in the Chief Sustainability Officer presentation by the JSW, we could straight away see that how the sustainability initiatives are straight away connected to the total cost management and the cost platform. Even the pricing decisions which are taken, especially for certain products. Of course, the international buyers agree for a certain premium if they are environment friendly, sustainable, and the social governance aspect is taken care of. They actually form part of the value added products, which actually not only improve the cost competitiveness, but also the profitability of the entities. But the connect between what is happening in the concept principles and drowned it in the system, where there should be a 360-degree view of the entire concept, which was impossible 10 to 15 years back, now has been brought into a practical use by the IT enablement. And we have an expert, Mr. Paritosh Basu, whose articles I fondly and thoroughly read, because I told him that he has brought the most complicated subject of the data analytics, AI, robotics, blockchain, and other technologies into a simple readable language. Of course, he also told me that he is running a YouTube channel. I will be subscribing to that. I think you should also subscribe to that, because it gives a bird's eye, not only a bird's eye view, but also a detailed view of what has to be done in implementing using the information technology aspects. Then we have Mr. Chirag Rawat, an IIT alumni. At a young age, he has got into the, especially on the green hydrogen as well as the green ammonia concept, which is actually one of the problems which many of the chemical industries face. So this is actually a very good augury. Without taking much time, I think we have to leave the floor to the eminent speakers. First, I would request Mr. Dr. Paritosh Basu, then Mr. Prabodh Acharya. Each of you will be having around 20 minutes. Even if it slightly exceeds, that is okay, because I think Mr. Prabodh Acharya has got a time limit to leave by 1:20. So with this assurance, I think the session will be over by around 1:30, between 1:30 and 1:45, so that all of you can have your lunch. In Tamil, there is a saying that if you, once you stop listening, then you can have food, because the listening gives you a better knowledge, you can absorb the knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. May now request CMA Dr. Paritosh Basu, sir, for his keynote address. Sir is Senior Director Services at Strategy Consulting Private Limited. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for introducing me. With the permission of the chairman, can I talk moving around the place? I have a bad habit, so bad habits die hard, good habits die jaldi. So, I don't want to show my back to all of you. That's why I thought I will request you to move around. So, I have 12 slides and I have no agenda point. All slides are by themselves are agenda. So, I'll open the discussion by a simple statement that we must hand over this earth to our next generation in a better manner, because when we inherited a better world than we are having it today. So if that has to be so, we must convert ESG, a revolution, both cultural and bloodless. It cannot be allowed to be just another agenda in the CEO's strategy points, which I'll prove to you. At the moment, around the world, it is like that. So quickly, I'll take you through the ascension analysis of this world. There are some research scholars all over the world called ascension analysts. These ascension analysts tell us how the world will look like as we go forward. The first analysis says we will be adding 1 billion more people under the sun and will soon reach 8.5 billion by 2030. Maybe it could reach 9. Urbanization, 2/3 of the world will live in urban areas. So we will encroach not only the villages and the greenwoods, but we will also encroach the inhabitation of animals. Whatever we do in the world in future, there will be a huge demand for transparency. We can't do anything without transparency. We'll see more such instances that Paris is having 47-degree temperature in the month of August. When I was in 1994 enjoying 16-degree temperature in London, that is 36 today. So climate crisis is going to be a huge, huge problem. Resource pressure would be of two types: existing resource pressures, and second is new resource pressures like chip making resource. China is blocking it. So any resource which is required for the first time, or lithium ion battery, so that lithium, so all these will be a huge problem. Clean tech, zero energy, zero tolerance. The paint which is used for painting our house, perhaps that will not be acceptable anymore, because that silently emits gases. Technology shift will be in such a manner that we will be under direct control of 5 IoTs, and by 2030, 25 IoTs will be controlling us, including our refrigerator will be ordering our food, and our car is in any case under IoT now, because insurance premium is decided on a daily basis. Global policy would have to be very, very important, and it should be open. Hush-hush policies will not work in the world anymore. Moreover, radicalism and nationalism, whether we want or we don't want, will go ahead. Guys who taught us what is globalization, those guys are reverse taughting us nationalism. I don't want to talk about that country. Pandemics will be unprecedented and frequency will keep on increasing. Populism will not work anymore, but World War III will be fought where? Not by physical army or in air or in ocean. It will be first fought in cyberspace. And NATO has already declared that cybercrime is an enemy for them. Having said that, what is the clarion call? The clarion call is we have to be ESG intelligent organization, not ESG compliant organization. What is ESG intelligent organization? I'll show you 4 approaches to ESG, and you will understand what I'm talking about it. So the world will look like this. We shall continue to live in a VUCA-FU world. F and U has been added to VUCA. F is what? Fear of unknown. U is what? Unprecedentedness. In the ESG context, we have to be ready with anything and everything which will come in our way, because we do not know what is going to come in our way, right? That's why it is called VUCA-FU world. So FU has been added. So what is the situation today? What is the situation today all over the world? First, we'll talk about India. I have drawn some numbers from one of the best sources one can take it. It is CRISIL. CRISIL has studied, that typing is wrong, 586 organization of India. And I'll take you through the first graph on the top. Indian score of these 586 companies, average G score, I'm talking about the G score, governance score, is 66. Average A score of India at the up now is 50. Average ESG score in total is 54. What are these 586 organizations? They cover 95% of the equity world, equity of India. So we are having a reasonable combination of Indian companies where environment score is least 45 and governance score is better because of simple reason. But from 2013 Companies Act and IFRS and LODR has made us better boys than bad boys of old days. So corporate world is doing well in the case of governance, but extremely, extremely falling behind on the environment part. What is the scoring category of these 586 people? Look at what? Only 14 organizations, which is 2.4%, they are in leadership category. And CRISIL has given a lot of comfort. What is the comfort? 71% to 100% score is being called as leadership, not 75 even. And weak category is 0 to 30, there are only 2. The guys who are falling in the main group, they are scoring 46 to 60. Do you think we'll survive with 46 to 60 with this kind of E score? Answer is no. Below average is 71 organization and 108 is the number of organizations who are in this strong category. What is the problem with us? The problem with us, I'm talking about India, that we are not disclosing. And guys who are disclosing, they are disclosing at their own sweet well. They don't know what to disclose because there is no world standard. So in the context of 2 things we have to improve, one is the score, second is the analysis of the score and finding reliable score, and the second one is disclosure. So from the perspective of this slide, CRISIL is conveying a measure and attitude and approach of Indian 586 company, what is happening in India. Is the world better? Let's look at the world position. Before that, I'll quickly share some other information. Only 8% companies of India's, 2/3 or more independent directors are there. That means we are governed by our in-house directors. Scope 3 emissions are published by only 63 organizations. Where is 586 and where is 63? Only 14 Indian companies are in the leadership category. Very, very poor position. Only 1/5 of the companies in our universe publish their sustainability report. Today we are 586. If we see the 586 companies in 2021, only 1/5 of them of 586 publish their position. So improvement is there, good beginning is there, but it's not achieving. One very interesting point here is 50% of companies, the CEO's remuneration is growth aligned. If CEO's remuneration is also ESG aligned, perhaps things should be better. How is the global position looking like? In globe, $2.7 trillion is under management by 2,900 ESG-oriented funding organizations. And this is the Davos paper. I'm talking about a very authentic Davos paper. So, where is the problem? The problem is coherent system for corporate disclosure. Where are we going behind? Tracking and measuring ESG commitment versus actual. The world is committing. People are saying that we are committing by 2030 we will not be using fossil fuel more than 50%. But who tracks it? If the country is committing, definitely the corporates are committing. Who is tracking? How the numbers are being created? And what is the standard for tracking? Lack of standardization on ESG scoring is leading to aggregate confusion. India is doing something, US is doing something, European Union is doing something, and that's what is happening. Japan is doing something, Korea is in its own way. What is the issue here? Greater attention is called towards how the data underlying ESG rating is generated. And there is no common metrics, there is no common standard. So if we are living in a world where IFRS is for accounting, aviation standard is for flying people, which one flight gone, 200 people dying, but we don't have, the world is sinking and there is a standard, even today. That's the scenario all around the world. If that is the scenario all around the world, what is our goal? This is what I am talking about. So long we were used to 3P bottom line: planet, profit, and people. So about 10 years before, one new P got added, that's called product. Product bottom line. That means our product should be ESG compliant. 28% GST has been incorporated on gaming industry because may not be socially desirable product, I do not know. Maybe one of the reasons. So refrigerators are being taken back when you are buying a new refrigerator because reverse or green logistics is playing. So product has becoming great. Comes prosperity. Prosperity means sustainability. If we are compliant with planet, profit, people, and product, we should be able to prosper. We should not be like Fortune 500 companies. Only 20 people survive after 20 years of Fortune 500 companies. I have studied failures of 42 Fortune 500 companies and presented in a Middle East and North Asia conference. If you study the reasons, you will be surprised. I have no time to talk about, I'll talk later in some time. So, prioritization of each fee factor should be specific to the industry, specific to the entity. And from the context of that, we should strive for inclusive growth, inclusive fortune, inclusive smile, and inclusive happiness. That means whatever ESG sanctions, whatever ESG standards, whatever ESG reporting we are doing, we should look at the lowest rung of the society. People are living there. We should think of them for reporting our ESG. If we do that, we shall achieve another P, which is the sixth P bottom line, that is peace. The ultimate objective of anything in this sun, under this sun, is to make people happy. So we should now have 6P bottom line, okay? I think all of you agree, and from this institute, we'll start propagating the theory of 6P bottom line. So, what is to be done? The world is, look at the picture. As of now, there are 4 approaches. Sir, I've taken how much minute now? 10 minutes of, okay, I'll finish in 10 minutes. I have researched a lot for this 12-slide representation, and I found out the world is now categorized under these 4 approaches. If you take the conformist approach, it means Majburi ki naam Gandhiji. What did it say? I believe in financial return and consider ESG as a just a regulatory boundary. Mera pitai hoga, so I must remain within the boundary. I must not put my finger on the fire that I have to do that. I am majburi, agar chance milta to मैं कुछ भी कर लेता. That is the approach of conformist. Pragmatic approach, I believe that ESG is an important factor that influences the firm's performance. So, I'm a selfish guy. I want to improve stakeholders' maximization of numbers. So I take it that it's an important factor that influences my firm's performance. And here the firm's performance is profit and people, maybe product, not planet, not peace and prosperity, of course. So I am pragmatic. What is when I am strategic? I believe that ESG is a part of the firm's purpose and that it will ensure long-term success. So what is the word purpose? What do we mean by purpose? The difference between the word objective and the purpose is a long-term phenomena and objective is a short-term phenomena. Why do I pursue a purpose? I want to be peaceful in long run. Why do I pursue an objective? If I am successful in pursuing an objective, my ultimate goal of being peaceful in life is a purpose. So let objective not define the purpose, let purpose define the objective. It means we must understand that ESG is a purpose of the organization and it's not a boundary-driven regulatory or a factor influencing. And finally, idealistic. I believe that ESG is my purpose, and in living that purpose, I can maximize sustainability. That is where we should look for. And anything which is sustainable is useful for all the stakeholders. So it is up to us, for the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and CMS sitting here, to tell the world whether we will be conformist or pragmatic or strategic or idealistic. Okay, so long we in this finance world, we are talking about only two bottom lines. One is the top line and one is the bottom line. Top line is our numbers and bottom line is our profit. Two lines and three P's. What is the next line we should talk about? Green line. Green profit, deliver sustainable products, reduce carbon footprint, be proactively compliant, report transparently. For that, of course, multilateral agencies like United Nations, like IMF, they should give us the standard. Let me tell you, in 1948 in Paris Conference, United Nations declared the human rights, 35 principles of human rights. Even today, those are being violated. The world has risen after a very, very long time to understand what is ESG. So, green line should be our culture. We should talk about not only top line and bottom line, we should talk about green line. So, if we have to talk about green line, what are the actions for us? First action is select the right organizational practices and align with the strategic part of the organization. The most important point is, whenever you have to make business, you have to create a business model and you have to create a revenue model. Now, business model and revenue model, when we plan for, we do not talk about 6P bottom line. We only talk about top line and 1P bottom line. So, we should be talking about product-oriented top line and Baki 5P oriented bottom line. We should be having ESG intelligent organization, and for that I'll have a slide I'll talk to you. We must augment our capacity to synthesize the data which we generate through transactional systems of the company. We must convert data into knowledge. Now it's a very philosophical statement, or it's every day, every people talk about it today. But very hardly any people know how to convert data into knowledge. Can I do it by Excel? Answer is yes. Can I do it by ERP? Answer is yes. Can I do it by AI? Answer is yes. Depends upon what volume of data we are handling. If we are handling such volume of data which people cannot, we should not shy away from using AI, artificial intelligence. Of course, after that, you should use ML and DL, machine learning and deep learning. So apply the right digital technologies for the right purpose with ESG imperatives in mind. ESG is no longer an option. ESG is an imperative. So, we are in Industry 4.0. Technology is changing at an overwhelming process. It is giving us a lot of benefits. It is giving us a lot of difficulty. What the best thing you can do is to merge the physical, digital, and biological world. Some of the offices are using my face to allow me to get entry. Some of the uses using my biometry to allow me the entry. What we are doing, the physical hand, biological footprint of mine, and the computer has been merged together. Is that right? All of you agree? Correct, na? In ESG perspective, we have to talk about a man's 365 days peaceful living in mind. Where my industry is, 100 kilometers around that, will my people live peacefully because of what nonsense we are doing? Certainly not. So we have to curate smarter generation of data, analyze those, keep into organization stakeholders into platform. Sir, I'll take 2 more minutes, I'm done. So blockchain platform for end-to-end management of compliance, management of governance, grants and subsidies, exchange of green bonds. Those are to be blockchain platform. In fact, I'm presently working on a research with one professor of Australia and one professor of US on this subject, collecting and monitoring of data from sensors, IoT, IIoTs, IoRTs, etc. ESG credentials, I have issued 20 carbon credit tokens. That should be definitely under blockchain because the world wants safe, transparent, secured technology elements, and blockchain perhaps only one thing can talk about it. I have talked about, of course, AI, ML, DL, human robots, robotic process automations, etc. can come on the way. So, ESG is neither a lipstick project. What is lipstick project? Lipstick is equal to greenwashing. Sorry, girls don't mind. I don't want to decorate my organization by saying, hey, I'm ESG compliant, please listen to me. ESG is not a destination project. I take certain plans and be done with it. ESG is a journey. So we have to think of the journey. So what we have to do? We have to have one version of truth. Our all numbers should talk about one version of truth. The globe has to have a ESG standard. We should have an ACE agenda, and our institute has taken up this ACE agenda by introducing social audit and social reporting. We should have a top-driven ESG strategy because fish rots at the head. Our top should get up first and talk about it. Introduce objective measurement. What cannot be measured can't be controlled. That is what cost accountant says. Anything has to be objectively measured and objectively reported and objectively analyzed with a 6P bottom line in my mind. We should talk about target for social reporting. We should link compensation with the ESG metrics. We should sensitize our people that 5% of your salary will be also linked to ESG performance of your. And we should talk about impact of non-financial indicators on our financial performance. So ESG mostly are non-financial indicators. Our institute should talk about, there are about 100 non-financial indicators for ESG performance, how those can be objectively measured and put into either cost line or the bottom line. Transparency, consistency, and comprehensiveness of reporting. These are the very good things. We have sir sitting here. We should talk about all this. And perhaps I would have spent 2 hours on these few slides. I cannot talk much about it. Thank you very much indeed for your listening me. I promise that I'll continue to develop on these 12 slides, and whenever there is a call, I'll continue to contribute for ESG reporting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation, sir. So, since time is very limited for, yes, sir.
By putting the entire thing into a very proper perspective. One thing which is very important from the last slide. See, the non-financial indicators, it is actually a clue for us how we can play a very major role. Actually, in the Total Cost Management Committee of CAI, under Mr. Sheshagiri Rao, where the next speaker is going to talk, the importance was given to a bidimensional cost sheet, which doesn't talk about the value, but the quantitative aspects, that is the non-financial indicators. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We should now proceed for our further sessions. We request Shri Prabodha Acharya, sir, Chief Sustainability Officer, JSW Group, for his address.
Thank you. I'll take this and
Yeah.
go to that.
Thank you.
Would you please put the presentations? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, all. In fact, after listening Dr. Basu, I was wondering, is there anything left for me to say? But I'll try to do a justice by giving you a practitioner perspective. I'm in this field for last more than 3 decades. In fact, I started choosing this field to work on sustainability in 1992 when Rio Summit was happening. So seeing the changes, I interestingly today heard 6 P's. Thank you for giving that concept. Well, I was asked in this particular event to speak about ESG from theory to actions for effective contributions with measured values. Therefore, it was expected I would speak on more actions and less theory. We had a very interesting session previous speaker, Dr. Basu, took us through all gamut. And it really resonated with me what I'm hearing since last 30 years. There are 2 words in your theme is being used also. I could see you are talking about unlocking sustainability, at the same time you are talking about ESG. It drives a point to possibly delve into some theories. And that is where I want to give my perspective. Is sustainability is different than ESG? Are they same? Are they going to do the same? Are we going to meet the same objectives? I have not seen 2 organizations defining sustainability in the same manner or understanding sustainability in the same manner. I have not seen even within an organization 2 different functions understanding on sustainability being uniform. Forget that. I have not seen 2 people agreeing on sustainability, what it means. So therefore, you might find some disagreement between Dr. Basu and me here. But nonetheless, we most generally will tend to agree on what we need to do. That's important. And when I think of sustainability, and after talking to many people, many organizations, many functions, I found this picture and that Panchatantra story in our childhood that 5 blind men went to see an elephant is apt for sustainability. The way you perceive it, you see sustainability in that manner. When you talk to the foundation, CSR, philanthropy, they will talk doing good for society is sustainability. Talk to your finance manager, he will take having a good, healthy bottom line and good top line is sustainability. Right? Talk to your operation manager, he's telling having good production is continuing having good productions, making your machines available is sustainability. but I think sustainability is not part of the elephant, it is a whole elephant. Either you look this as an opportunity for the organizations, or you look this as a risk to manage, and that lead to ESG. So therefore, in my view, sustainability and ESG are two different things. I have given some broad changes. Now, if you look at this word, sustainable development or sustainability is revolving around since 1992. We have seen triple P, we have seen many terms, acronyms coming, going, and we heard about 6P today also. ESG as a term, I don't know how many of you know, it actually first surfaced in 2005 in a UN report, but nobody noticed. Gradually now, specifically after the COVID, people are talking about ESG. They are not talking anymore on sustainability. But before that, you will see that people are talking about sustainability. So I see, therefore, it has two distinct functions. What are ESG, Judge? Why ESG is being discussed? Why it surfaced just after COVID? Because it made disruption to the investment made by the investors. So therefore, investors now want to see that the investment what is making in organizations, is it going to give them a return? And therefore, is the organization has a robust system to manage risk related to environmental, social and governance. And we all know governance is a fundamental thing for any organization to succeed or fail. And that is how after COVID it is gaining importance, because a lot of our investors are asking. So therefore, ESG is a risk management tool. However, sustainability is a business management tool. 100% of your profitability, 100% of your business is sustainability. So it is all depends on how you manage the organization to consistently meet the objective of the organization. Therefore, sustainability cannot have a single definition. And everybody is right when they define the way they look at sustainability. So there, from a practitioner point of view, I have chosen and decided first to have a unified understanding of sustainability. Therefore, if you look at JSW's sustainability website, we have given a vision statement, and that defines sustainability for us. I've given some of the differences, but fundamentally, one is a risk management tool, another is a business management tool. So that way, as a practitioner, I look at. So therefore, if I develop all the right processes and systems to run my business, I'll ensure that I'm continuing my business for n number of years, taking care of all stakeholder expectations, not only of the financial or shareholders' concerns. And therefore, I should be able to better manage the ESG risk. And again, I'll give another example how the ESG risk management is becoming important. If somebody is following the global risk management report being done by a World Economic Forum for last 12, 13 years, every year they are putting what are the global trends and risks which are going to impact the business. They survey more than 500 top global CEOs and they put the report. And we saw Dr. Basu presenting the micro trends that is going to impact the businesses, right? It is nothing different if you see. But what is changing? Over the period, if you see, the issues related to environment, issues related to social aspects are becoming top on the risk chart. And that's you see all the greens, how it is becoming important in the CEO's radars. So therefore, the successful business, the top business who are being successful are increasingly providing importance to those areas and developing processes and system to manage. And therefore, ESG is becoming important from an organizational perspective. And that's my take on the theory, right? Now with that, let me reiterate, because I come from a business, right? So I'm not doing charity. Our objective is to grow the business in a way and along with the society. in a responsible manner. But we need to grow. Because if you don't grow, you are not sustainable. So that means, do we see sustainability have a business benefit? Absolutely yes. And I will tell the reason. These are the 7 reasons we find, and you can apply that in your organizations to convince, if anybody is not convinced, this is really adding to business benefit, both to your top line, bottom line, and also green line. So it adds to everything. The first logic is disruptions. What you see, climate change is a risk everybody is talking about. But many startups, we have a young startup here also, they will possibly speak about that. They have found this is an opportunity. Look at energy transition is an opportunity. And this is opportunity is coming from a climate change which is mostly looked at as a risk. In JSW's case, if you see, we have an energy vertical. Now we are completely going towards renewable. That's giving a business opportunity. We are into cement business. It's the greenest cement in the world. That has given us a business opportunities. And we can always be ahead of our competitor. So it gives a competitive advantage plus a business benefit. The second reason, customers are increasingly demanding for the greener product. Although we should be careful about the lipstick, what Dr. Basu talked about, that is green washing, we should be very careful, but customers are demanding. Believe me, I'm in a sustainability field. For last 30 years, no customer was talking to me. Suddenly from last 3 years, almost every week I am interacting with the customers. They are not talking to my sales and marketing. They are talking to me. I'm the chief sustainability officer. I don't have any relations. I shouldn't have. But no, they want to know when you will be ready to provide me green steel, green cement, green power. What will be the cost? What's your plan? In fact, they are asking year-wise, what are your interventions and how you are going to change your product mix. So therefore, transferring towards greener product is a business benefit. And it's a good sustainability practice, right? The third reason, efficient operations. I'll give a real example. Last year, we instituted a program in one of our largest steel mill in Karnataka. We call it SEED program, that is Sustainable Energy, Environment and Decarbonization Program. Over 30 years with the existing assets, how we can make the changes. We engaged, of course, a consultant to make the mindset change. We found in the first year itself, we got more than 30 crores of benefit, real benefits. So when you become efficient, whether it is energy, process or operations, you add to bottom line. Your operation manager will love you. So that is a direct benefit what as a business you can draw. Fourth, I think this is well understood how the regulation is tightening organizations to become more sustainable organizations and ESG compliant. But the next fifth point is very important. You must be hearing that a lot of sustainability related financial products are being sold. But is it really giving a financial benefit? Our experience tell, last year we raised almost $1.6 billion in various sustainability instruments from the market. It got oversubscribed by 5 to 6 times. When you get oversubscribed, you can tighten your borrowing rates. So that will give a immediate benefit of lower cost of your financing. And that is real, right? The sixth, I don't know how many of you are knowing about TCFD. You know, TCFD, the Task Force on Climate Change Related Financial Disclosure, was formulated by the Financial Stability Board, right? And even now RBI is talking about climate aligned financial frameworks. So every investor wants to know, are you aligned with the TCFD requirements? It's becoming so important. It's all about business resilience. The last but one, I have seen in the last if you see any fossil fuel companies, they have given negative TSRs, that is total shareholder returns. The IT, the tech firms, used to give highest return. But the first generation clean tech companies are giving more than 80% of shareholder values. Look at Tesla. That's the example. And in India, I see consistently the young entrepreneurs are coming and putting their efforts towards clean techs. In fact, in JSW, we have started a ESG fund recently. So we are encouraging those companies who are coming to the clean tech. So what I want to summarize here, there is definitive benefits to the organizations in both financial term by doing good. So by being good, having the right system and processes, you are making your organization resilient. So that's the benefit. So I cannot, emphasize more that how as an organization, if somebody is not aligning your processes towards sustainability, how you can reap the benefit. And in the meantime, manage all your ESG risks. Again, repeating, ESG is a risk management tool. Now, having said that, because it is the subject of discussion today on ESG, so therefore let me divert from business management processes to risk management process, how the organization should build a robust ESG framework. We saw the 9-point agenda put forth by Dr. Basu. I am giving a very simplified formula, which is tried and tested and we have applied. The very important thing, is it driven by the top? Do you have a responsibility at the board level? Because I'm a science student, I greatly believe and see everywhere you can apply Newton's formula, Newton's law. Nothing will change unless there is a force applied. So if you want to change the inertia, you need to apply a force. And the force can be given by the instrument or the body who has the capability to produce the force. And that's your board. So therefore, fundamentally, if you don't have a top level directive, and if you are in the sustainability field, could not convince your board level to have a specific focus, you can't have nothing will move then, right? In JSW, we have, I'll give you the example of JSW. Then you identify the risk, then you develop strategies how you want to mitigate those. So if you have identified whatever number of risks, if climate change is a risk to everybody, but what are the other risks? And there you need to have a stakeholder consultation. This will be too technical, I am not going through. But once you do that, then it's very important to have specific KPIs, smart KPIs, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, having a time frame. That's very important. And monitoring, measuring, and reviewing is equally important. Having done that, you should be in a good position to have the disclosure where your rating agency take those and give you a ESG rating, which Dr. Basu showed about CRISIL's finding. They ultimately see what you have reported. Now, if you have not done, then you can't report. Now, quickly, I think 2 minutes. I thought I should take more time on this slide, but I'll tell you, that is how we have applied. This is the model I'm saying that how JSW as a group has applied. I told we have defined sustainability through our vision. To achieve the vision, we have a framework. And this is the framework, what you see, there are 17 focus areas. What is focus areas? They are material areas, they are not SDGs. Ideally, the number becomes same. How we arrived at that? We did a detailed stakeholder analysis. That means we asked all our stakeholders. And then arrived, these are the 17 focus areas. If we focus, and if you see, we have also mapped them to E and S and G, right? To manage the ESG risk. Then we have ensured that when we develop the framework, we consulted all the applicable international and national standards, because that will ensure my compliance requirement. I don't need to do duplications. Every focus area have a dedicated policy. 4-page policy is not a 1-page policy. Why we have given a detailed policy? Because policy is a commitment between us and the stakeholder. We have exactly stated what we want to do, so that my stakeholder can come and challenge us, are we doing it or not doing this? This has happened through these priority areas. And each of the priority areas has a smart KPIs. And they are being monitored on a daily basis by our operation heads, on a monthly basis by a we call climate action group, which is a multiple functions coming together and they review. Then it goes to the executive board, they review on every month. Mind it, 30% of our variable pay of the top management, the board, is linked to sustainability. So they do review on the board reviews then on a 6-monthly basis, but executive committee reviews on a monthly basis. And I told you, if you start anything, it has to start from the top. And then it percolates down the bottom. And then it has to be bottom up. And that is why we are doing by doing daily monitoring by the plant manager, that what is the progress. So if you don't monitor, you cannot improve. That's what we do through the governance mechanism. And finally, we report our progress in terms of integrated report every year. That is how I conclude a practitioner point of view, how you can develop a business management system which will take care of your ESG risk. Please do not make a mistake by segregating this from the main business, right? If you segregate, it becomes add-on things and it will never be mainstream. So therefore, our intention is to mainstream sustainability into business practices, not to bind business through some requirement which is coming from ESGs. So this is proactive, this is working, this is giving financial results, this is giving all non-financial results in terms of satisfaction of all stakeholders. Thank you very much for your patience hearing at the end. Can you just put up the last slide? The last thank you slide. Okay. Just a word before I go. I really like the last sentence. Be the change you want to see in the world. The great Mahatma Gandhi has once told. This is applicable everywhere. If you want to see the changes, we have to imbibe those changes and make those changes happen. With that, thank you very much. Have a successful webinar, the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acharya. You have done a wonderful job. Like quality is not cost. ESG is value. That is what you have demonstrated through practical illustrations in your own group. Next, we are going to have Mr. Chirag. In fact, in the brief interaction I had with him, he has got technologies which is at 50% of the global cost. Anyhow, more to Mr. Chirag.
Yeah. So now I would request Shri Chirag Rawat, founder of Climatic Change Technologies, to present his address.
Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for joining us in today's discussion. So I'll be moving a little away from our current topic of this this session. So ESG was the center stage of this session, but I'll be talking more about in the environment part of ESG. As sir highlighted in his presentation, that environment is very underreported part of ESG reporting, and I'll be talking more about the opportunities that are there in this journey that was highlighted. So I'll be talking about opportunities for MSMEs and entrepreneurs in achieving the net zero goals, which primarily revolves around the environment part of ESG. So when you open the internet, when you look at the news, you see net zero goals everywhere. Governments are announcing their net zero goals. Corporates are announcing their net zero goals. Recently, our Honorable Prime Minister announced that India will be net zero by 2070. Thank you. So, everyone is talking about net zero, but what exactly is net zero and how is it linked to the industry? Yeah, so every human activity that we undertake, you coming from home to this venue, we wearing clothes, eating food, the power that is lighting up the hall, it is all, you know, so it all results in some form of emissions. And all these human activities attributes to the total emission of our you know, of the industry. You using power here is resulting in emissions in some power plant. We wearing clothes is resulting in emission in some textile industry. And all these industries, all these emissions, they can be reduced using low carbon and energy efficiency technologies. Now, you know, if you look at this, if you look at this image, the business as usual, as you know, as discussed in previous presentations also, a lot of emissions are taking place, and if we go by business as usual, if you use the usual practices, the traditional practices for industries, especially hard to abate industries, the emission levels are going to be very high. But if we use energy efficiency, low carbon technologies, these emissions could be mitigated. Plus, there are ways to neutralize the residual emissions using carbon removal technologies like carbon capture technologies. Then there are forest restoration methods which we are actively deploying to reduce the negate the residual emissions. So with this, at some point, the emissions, the net emissions become zero for any industry or for a country in general. So where is the industry headed? So the value chain, if you look at any value chain, I have taken in this case, I've taken the example of the textile value chain. So we all wear clothes, right? And when you look at when you go and buy clothes, you look at the cost of the shirt that you are going to buy. Now, if you start asking the brand, what is the carbon footprint of the shirt that you are buying, they'll tell you that it is say 10 kg of CO2 was emitted while manufacturing this shirt. So for that, they are not the only stakeholders in making that shirt. The entire value chain is there. These they will go to their suppliers who are manufacturing the textiles. They will go to their suppliers who are manufacturing the yarn, the polyesters. They will go to their suppliers who are providing them with the synthetic chemicals and so on. So the entire value chain is responsible for a part of the total emissions that are taking place. And emission reduction, if there has to be an emission reduction in the industry, it has to come from all these stakeholders that are there in the value chain. And as highlighted in the previous presentation, it has to start from the top. So if you start asking the brands, if you start asking the companies, how can we need low carbon emissions associated with the food that we eat, with the clothes that we wear, with the power that we use, they will start. The process will start from there. So they will start asking their suppliers, their upstream suppliers to reduce their carbon emissions. And that is how this entire decarbonization process will take place. Now, with the carbon market stabilizing and with the domestic and international regulations kicking in, the focus will be on adapting low carbon and energy efficiency technologies. So there are certain challenges when it comes to reducing your carbon emissions. So as I said, I'll be more talking about the carbon emission only. So low carbon and energy efficiency technologies are still developing. If you look at the industry, we have a very good adoption of solar power in the industry, which are fairly developed. But other than the energy industry, if you look at the chemical industries, if you look at hard to abate sectors like steel, cement, these are very difficult, and the technology implementation at that scale that is needed is still under development. So technologies are not matured enough. Then there are lower awareness of emerging technologies. So there are various technology solutions that are already there, but the awareness among the industry is very low. Most of the emerging technologies that are available in any of the industry, they are very the cost economics works only at scale. So small industries, entrepreneurs, MSMEs particularly, they'll not be able to adapt it as is. There needs to be a lot of work to be done in order to scale down the operation and to manage the right cost economics. And the cost of transition is very high. In most of the cases, if you look at the low carbon technologies, there has to be a cost of transition. It is very high particularly for MSMEs. Large corporates can manage to make the switch, but it is difficult for MSMEs to make the switch. Finally, technology inertia is there. As you know, as we can see in our daily lives also, if we are used to one particular practice, if an industry is using one particular technology, they tend to use it for a very long time, and they do not want to change to new technologies. They do not want to adapt to that. This inertia is there, which creates a challenge to switch to new technologies. But in a hindsight, all these challenges are actually opportunities if you look at them. So, you know, since these technologies are not, there's a lot more scope for development of low carbon energy efficiency technologies. A lot of technologies is being developed in India in the research centers that we have, by startups, by a lot of corporates in their R&D divisions. A lot of technologies, particularly in the hard to abate sectors like cement, steel industries, is taking place. There's a very high potential for emerging technologies. So, as I said, the penetration of these emerging technologies is very low. So when you talk about green hydrogen, for example, we only talk about green hydrogen for only large corporates are talking about green hydrogen and their transition to green hydrogen. There's a lot of scope for MSMEs to use green hydrogen. Then there's a lot of scope for MSMEs to develop technologies, offer technologies for green hydrogen, because you know, as we have seen, a lot of our clean energy technologies are being imported, coming from China, US, Europe. So there are a lot of opportunities in India itself to develop and provide these green energy technologies. Then, as I mentioned, these are called not cost effective. So there's a scope for climate finance. Now, climate finance is something that can be a game changer in the industry, and with the trillions of dollars at stake, it has become the center stage even for traditional financial institutions to look at the emission factors of the production process that you are taking, and climate finance can bridge the gap between the industries and the emerging technologies. Finally, we have seen that Indian manufacturers, Indian industries are not very competitive at global scale. China has always taken the lead in manufacturing, and they have always had an edge against every other country in terms of manufacturing. But this is the time. There's a transition from traditional practices to the newer manufacturing processes, and every customer, every buyer in the international market is looking for products which has a lower carbon intensity, even if they have to pay the premium. So here's an opportunity for Indian manufacturers, Indian industries, MSMEs to take this advantage and be competitive in the global scenario. So low carbon economy, that is where we are headed, and the low carbon economy will have a system which is parallel to the financial system that we have in place. So we are already talking about carbon auditing, accounting, reporting, and monetization. This is the most crucial part of this transition, because technologies will be adapted in future, and carbon emission reduction will take place, but the accounting and reporting and monetization practices are something which we have to very robustly design and adapt. As environmental reporting is the most underrated part of the ESG reporting, and because there are no set parameters, there are no set standards which are acceptable to the industries, and because there's still a lot of room for manipulation in the environmental reporting. That is why environmental carbon accounting and reporting is very important, and monetization could be done if we can use energy efficiency, low carbon technologies to reduce our emissions. That is a very essential part of this transition. Almost all retail and institutional investors are looking at these factors, your emission levels and your ESG ratings. So it is very important for all these new industries. They can take the edge if they can adapt to these technologies. And as I mentioned earlier, climate finance is worth a lot of money. So all these traditional banking institutions are looking at financing these kind of emerging technologies. So from a perspective of the MSMEs, from a perspective of small scale industries, this adapting new technologies can be a game changer instead of a challenge that they see. So with this, upskill, upgrade and innovate, this is what I believe in, and the industries in India, they need to upskill individuals, the individual entrepreneurs need to upskill themselves from their traditional perspective to a new perspective of low carbon economy. They need to upgrade their processes, their technologies, and we need to innovate in India. That is the key to achieving the ambitious goals that are being set by the leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chirag. It was wonderful presentation. So now we are just concluding with this session. Before that, I would request CMA Devashish Mitra sir, Council Member ICMI, to propose vote of thanks for the session.
I will not take much time because now this is the lunch time. So everybody is very much interested to go to the lunch. Amit has already started clapping, so that I shall remove the dais right now. Amit, can I take 2 minutes, 3 minutes? I will not bother you much. Actually, first of all, I convey my thanks and gratitude to Gopal Krishnan sir, that very first speech he has already narrated the boundaries of the discussion. And after that, respected Paritosh Basu sir has taken the responsibility to discuss about so many areas. He was talking that we must hand over the better earth to the next generation. Yes, sir. It is our responsibility, though we are the accounting professional, that is also our responsibility to hand over the better world to the next generation. And one point he was just talking about that this cyber attacks as a potential threats, and he was comparing with this World War III. Yes, sir, it is very much important, and for which this Institute of Cost Accountants of India is working on these particular areas, and so many contemporary courses they have started. And I feel that these courses will take this profession to the new height. And particularly, some of the points I just like to add on actually, sir. You might have seen that presently the Schedule 3 and the CARO reporting has substantially changed, particularly for the last 2 to 3 years. And I hope that ESG reporting, ESG standard, which the SEBI has already given the mandate to our institute, and if this type of reporting can be merged, how I do not know, but if it can be merged with the cost auditing reporting, I feel that it will be a phenomenal change in the cost auditing reports. Particularly the ESG standard, ESG reporting, if it can be merged with the cost audit reports. I feel that Mr. Gopal Krishnan also can put some thoughts and ideas on these issues. I just discussing with him. He was talking about also the planet, people, and profits. So each and everything is the conglomerations, each and everything is the linking. And one point was, I like to highlight that there is a very good institute on NFSU, National Forensic University. They were talking about how the mixing of the data analytics with the financial audits and all the things. So each and everything is also related with the ESG this standards, reporting, and all the things. And another point, Mr. Pramodha Acharya sir also talking about that ESG, he was distinguishing between the ESG risk management and the sustainability. Just for your information, he was also talking about the financing activities. Actually, Chirag was also talking about this climate financing. And he was talking about the emission reduction will be focused for the financing institutions. To some extent, I feel that it may be a challenge for any financial institution to put their money for this emission reduction mechanism right now. Because where will be the financial modeling will support? I do not know how. You are the best person to judge. But definitely it is a challenging activities that how the financial modeling can be done in such a way that we can say that the financial institution get the return on investment after putting these things. Just I'm giving a small example, sir. Around 2003, when the private companies have started generating power, thermal power particularly, at that time there is a particular devices was there called ESP, electrostatic precipitator, which was required for carbon emission as per the MOEF guidelines. After that, in around, hopefully in the 2018, one particular devices has been introduced. One is the sulfur neutralization mechanism has been introduced. I just forget the name of this particular thing. But the total investment cost around 650 crores. The question comes, whether my plant, whether my project is sustainable. After incorporating the 650 crores, add with the project cost, where already the project cost has already extended, or already where there is a cost overrun. If this 650 crores will be added, whether my project will be sustainable or not. Presently, I am from the private, I am from the PSUs, where the C&AG audit has already been started, just to understand that the sustainability of the business, whether after taking a particular loan, whether the business is sustainable 5 years down the line or not. So that is the point, sir. I will not take much time. So now the question comes that where we want to see our profession 5 years down the line. That is the most important thing. And I feel cost audit is important, and again I'm telling you, sir, cost audit is important, cost preparation, records, everything is important. But definitely, our institute should think that we must not keep our all eggs into one basket. We have to diversify. We have to diversify into the different areas, data analytics, forensic audit, system and security audit, unless the sustainability of our profession will be challenged. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With this, we conclude with this plenary session. May I request everyone to please join us for lunch outside, and then we'll reassemble again for the technical sessions. 30 minutes, I think we can have our lunch.
Thank you, ma'am, for conducting this